Hello, everybody. This is the pre-show. I'm Jay Skinner, and you're on the Buyers and Sellers Show. Let's have fun and give everybody a chance to get on. Yep, this is the day you've been waiting for. Going to be highly attended, a lot of information, fast-paced, and you're going to get to know, if you don't already, Jim Cathcart. Oh my gosh, how fun is that? I'm going to take a sentimental journey. I'm going to set your heart at ease. I'm going to make a sentimental journey to renew old memories. Seven, that's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up in heaven, counting every mile of railroad track that takes me back. You know, now I never thought my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? I'm going to take a sentimental journey with my friend Jim Cathcart. It's going to be so cool. Sentimental journey home. And we're live. It's 10:35 Eastern time, and you're on the Buyers and Sellers Show. Everyone, we've got an incredible show here today. You know, this show's on every day, on every Friday at 10:35, and I'm so glad you came. Today, we've got Jim Cathcart, and I just want to bring him on. Jim, here we go.
Hey, thank you. I was just sitting here playing along with your sentimental journey.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
In the kitchen seat.
You are a player. It's
There
like,
you go.
Man, this is fantastic. I always say, Jim, if you're going to show an instrument in the background, you better know how to play it.
That's right.
All right. So this is about being a speaker when you are the speaker. In fact, everyone here, this is the book we're talking about right here. What to do when you're the speaker. The Cathcart Method for Confident Communication.
Yep. And that one's not about how to give a speech. I assume everybody who reads it already knows how to do that. What it's about is how do you deal with all the myriad things that happen when you're the speaker, like the other speaker going overtime and, you know, the lights going out or the building catching on fire and all those kind of things.
That is the truth. And I've been through it, and it's wonderful. And by the time people get through this, first of all, if there's any question in your mind whether or not you should invest in this book, just let me put it to rest. The answer is yes. If you've been a speaker all your life, like some of these people, and we're going to do a little lightning round here. They think it's a good idea. Jim, this is a surprise. I know you weren't expecting it exactly, but let's go through some of these people and just tell me who they are. These are folks that have actually endorsed your book. And
Dr. Nito Kubain, president of High Point University, longtime dear friend. Clay Clark, the guy who formed Thrive Time Nation. He's Entrepreneur of the Year winner, lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Paula Sue, my wife of 53 years, and we're having barbecue with Howard Partridge at Terry Black's Barbecue in Austin. Dr. David Chu, my brother from another mother on the other side of the world, who brought me to China 19 separate times. Dr. Ivan Meisner, founder of BNI, Business Networking International. He's a neighbor of mine about a mile down the street and one of the world leaders in business networking. John Mitchell, who is a self-made multimillionaire that lives here in Austin and formed a company called Think It, Be It, because he discovered the secret that they talk about, that Napoleon Hill talks about in the book Think and Grow Rich, and he teaches it to other people. Kate Hancock, one of the world's leading authorities on the metaverse and on the whole, that whole cryptocurrency side of the world. And she flies all over the world speaking at conferences for Harvard and Amazon and all kinds of people like that. Jody Rifkin, a client of mine from California, who is one of the Amazon's top resellers. Les Brown, one of the best known motivational speakers in the world. I met him in 1985 when he attended his first National Speakers Convention, and I was the national president that year. Mark Hunter out of Dallas now. He is called the Sales Hunter. He's a sales speaker and author, a terrific guy. Michael Reagan, oldest son of Ronald Reagan, the president of the United States, and a radio commentator and speaker and an author. Michael Butler is the owner of Beyond Publishing, and that's the back end of Cathcart Press. And this is me in a podcast studio with him. That's Matthew Pollard. Matthew Pollard wrote a book called The Introvert's Edge, and he's from Australia originally, lives in the United States, and he's just a brilliant man. This is Ramon Ray, and I'm going to be meeting with Ramon later today. He's a professional speaker and very active in the National Speakers Association, one of the headliners at this year's conference. That's Scott Friedman on the left, Harvey McKay in the middle, and me on the right at the National Speakers Convention in Nashville last year. And this is me with the same shirt you can see with Nikki McQuistion, the producer and owner of Perspectives Matter, a TV show on PBS for 33 years out of Dallas, where I'm co-host. Scott McCain, one of the best known speakers in the nation. He's from Indiana. You'll be happy to know. And he also lives in Vegas, and he's an amazing guy whose focus is on being iconic. Shep Hyken, one of the leading customer service excellence trainers and speakers in the world, out of St. Louis. Eric Swanson, Mr. Awesome, he calls himself, and he's got a great big following. He lives in Park City, Utah, and he's an amazing guy. That's Tim Gard out of Portland, Oregon. Tim's a humorist and member of the Speaker Hall of Fame, and he's going to be the Master of Ceremonies for the National Speakers Convention in Orlando in a couple of weeks. Terry Brock. Terry Brock is a techno expert, has been for 30 years, lives in Orlando with Gina Carr, and the two of them are just brilliant podcasters and subject experts in the use of technology. That, my friends, is the son of Zig Ziglar. That's Tom Ziglar, the CEO of Ziglar Learning, and he's out of Dallas, of course, and Tom's carrying on the legacy of his super, super famous dad. And if you ask him how's he doing, he'd probably say what his dad said. I'm super good, but I'll get better. This is one of the best known men in the world of education, especially primary and secondary education. His name's Steve Spangler, and he is a science expert, and Sick Science is the name of one of his websites. The guy's amazing, been on Ellen, on Oprah, and all of those shows regularly. This is Patricia Fripp, the best speaker coach on the face of the earth. And that's me and Tom Hopkins in the airport in Chengdu, China. We've known each other for years, but we ran into each other by coincidence in the middle of China. And my best friend in the world and my former business partner, my frequent co-author, Dr. Tony Alessandra, who's been your guest on your show, Jay.
He has, and one of my mentors as well, and I'm so thankful to know him as well. And we've got people coming on, and as Marty Moran, he's a great white hot headshots a guy, a photographer. Sorry you're late. CPA meeting went longer than expected. Well, I'm glad you got money to count, brother. Thank you for coming. All right. And then as we keep this going, that was fantastic. And these are names that just came out of your book.
Well, they're just, they're dear friends and have been forever.
I want everybody right here to see, because already the people up front are listening, and some people can stay, some people can't, but I really want them to know this is where you go to buy that book. And I'm going to put it in the chat too. And I want you to look at this. Hold on a second. Copy it. There we go. And put it in there and make sure people can look at it. And I'm going to go down to the comments and drop this link in. And everyone, you can buy it on Amazon. It's like everywhere books are sold, and this will pop into the chats for some of you.
And you can buy it in Kindle or paperback or hardcover, any one of those three.
And
this came out June 1st.
Came out June 1st. And the thing is that people that have been speaking all their lives. I mean, one of the things is that everybody's a speaker. You talk about that at the beginning of your book. Explain that, because there are some people here that probably haven't been a public speaker, but everybody does public speaking.
Well, here's the thing, Jay. People talk about the number one fear in the world is public speaking. And that comes from a book called The Book of Lists that was published, generation ago. And maybe that was true in the survey that they did. They were saying that public speaking is more fear producing than death or disease or dismemberment or whatever. Well, yeah, you could make a case for that coming up in a survey. But the reality is there's no such thing as a fear of public speaking.
The
reason I paused.
Why is that the case?
Well, I paused to let that sink in, because there are going to be lots of people saying, hold it. I'm terrified of the idea of public. No, you're not. You speak in public all the time. When you say, hey guys, wait, let me, wait for me. And you're trying to catch up with a group of people. That was public speaking. When you're sitting at the dinner table with family and friends and someone says, hey, how was Disneyland? You say, oh my God, let me tell you about it. You're doing public speaking. We're always speaking in public, speaking to more than one person at a time. What creates fear is the fear of judgment. We're not afraid of speaking. We're afraid of people thinking bad things about us. We're afraid we're going to mess up. And because of the mess up, we're not afraid of the mess up. We're afraid of the effect of the mess up. People won't like me. People won't admire me. People won't respect me. I'll get in trouble. That, things will go wrong. Oh my gosh, run, hair on fire down the street, waving your arms. All right. It's not a fear of speaking. It's a fear of judgment. So stop thinking about you. Think about your audience. Think about your message, for heaven's sakes. Get your mind off of what you fear and get it on to what you're there for. For
sure. Now, we've got some other comments here. Cynthia Mannion is on board. Cynthia, so glad you came. She is a new author, and she just wrote a book called The Black Pearl. Was published by another one of your friends, the chicken soup guy.
Yeah, Mark Victor Hansen.
Yes.
Jack Canfield.
And love that. She was on my show a few weeks ago. So Cynthia, glad you're here. Says, wonderful roundtable you have there. Jim Cathcart and Jay Skinner.
By the way, I was just published in a chicken soup book like a few weeks ago. And they sent me a few copies. This one's called The Advice That Changed My Life. And I've got a story in there.
Oh yeah, The Advice That Changed My Life. Everybody, let's remember that too. The Advice That Changed My Life. Soup. I like it. Good. Now, Eli Skinner, that's my son, and he says, "Yo, hi Eli, thanks for coming." Eli's a businessman, owns a real estate company in Indianapolis, and your son wrote a chapter in your book, and I read it. I said, tell me about that letter.
My son is an executive with Four Seasons Hotels Corporation. He's a resort manager in California. And of course, he's been around for all of my speaking career. which started in 1974. And I said, Jim, you grew up with all this that I talk about in not only this book, but in many of my books. Would you do me a favor and just write a letter that I can put in this book that gives us a child's point of view growing up around all this motivation?
Mm-hmm.
And so we published it as A Son's Perspective. Let me read you the opening line.
Okay.
Growing up as the only child of a professional speaker is a unique experience. Instead of getting signatures from sports heroes, my signature book was filled with legends like Zig Ziglar. Instead of getting timeouts when I misbehave, I got hour-long lectures on making the right choices. I remember hitting my teenage years and rebelling against the whole idea of self-improvement. Desire for public speaking? Never. It must have skipped a generation, I would say. And then I grew up and got a job in training and development and became a career in human resources and luxury hospitality. Public speaking? Yep. How to motivate a team? Yep. Emotional intelligence? Yep. All required in my 25-year career now. And I didn't go to college for those topics. I got them at home.
That's right. And Jim, the Bible says, bring up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it.
That's
and
right.
Your son is a testimony to that. My two sons are, and then all the sons and daughters in the world benefit from that as well. So fantastic.
Thank you. And I just celebrated with him in Santa Barbara this past weekend the graduation of his son from the University of California at Santa Barbara.
Wow. Isn't that great? That is fantastic. Okay, now everyone, we're going to get into some how-to and some interesting things that are just topics. There's 54 mini lessons inside this book, and I will tell you, and don't go away, but I'm going to give you
means just that.
There you go.
There's the whole lesson, 2 pages.
Yeah.
And everything in there is short, intentionally short.
And then, okay, Cynthia says, wow, Jim Cathcart, I admire Mark Victor Hansen and Crystal Dwyer Hansen's Chicken Soup books. I look forward to reading your story in the newest book.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Jim, let's talk about some topics that some of the little lessons we're just going to kind of go through, lightning round through a bunch of them and see your comments, and people can buy the book to get even more information.
Okay.
What do you think about know what they are expecting? Hey, you want people to, when they're speaking, they have to go into that thing and understand what's coming up.
Well, if you're the speaker, they have probably told the audience what's the reason for being at that meeting. In other words, they've sent out an announcement or made a posting on the website or called somebody, and they've created an expectation. So when people come into a room and they know that you're going to be presenting, they have some kind of an expectation in their mind. And if you know what that is, you can deal with it. If you don't know what that is, you may end up going in a different direction and create a situation of frustration because their expectations were missed. So I always ask, if I'm a booked speaker for a convention, I want a copy of the program announcement, whether it's online or print or whatever. I want to see how they positioned me, because one time I went to a meeting in Nebraska, and when I was about to get up to speak, the guy got up on stage and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our keynote speaker." And he started reading a bio of a guy different from me. And I looked inside their program, and they had, pardon me, my nose itching, inside their program, they had a photograph of a different speaker and his bio, not mine. And had I only known in advance, I could have dealt with that. But the Speakers Bureau had sent the wrong information. And so this guy is being introduced, and I walked up onto the stage and I said, "Would everyone please look at the bio in your materials?" And they did. And I said, "Okay, look at this face. That's not me. Take your pen and make a big X through that My staff must have been playing a trick on me. So let's all laugh at their practical joke. And let me explain who I actually am and why I'm here today. So instead of blaming the Speakers Bureau, I blamed my own staff and made fun of it and got it over with.
You know, and many speakers that have been talking for a long time and getting in front of audiences run into these sort of things. But the trick is having thought through in advance, if you ever meet up with this, what you'll do, and then you be prepared.
Yeah, but that one, there was no way I could have thought that through in advance.
Yeah,
I
but
just had to
the
be
story's
present,
in there because it could
you know?
happen to anybody.
And that's it. If I had been focused on my speech
Uh-huh.
and really concerned about myself and judgment,
Mhm.
then I would have blown it. That would have been a horrible moment. But I decided to make fun of it. There was another time a guy named Roy McKinney, who had been traveling with me, taking me to a bunch of Century 21 real estate sales rallies around Ohio. We'd been traveling together for days, and we got to this third or fourth meeting, and he went up to his room and took a nap and got ready for the evening meeting a little while later, came down, and he was still a little groggy from the nap. And so when he got on the stage, he said, our speaker, I've been traveling with him for the last 3 or 4 days. The guy's amazing. He's done a great job for us, and you're going to love what he's got to say. And he forgot my name.
Oh.
He's still half asleep.
Yeah.
And I mean, he knows my name,
He does.
but he's just in a brain fog for the minute.
Mhm.
And so I'm sitting in the audience, and this was 40 years ago. So I think, let's have fun with it. And I get up and I get on the platform with him, and I say, wait a minute. I've got it here somewhere. Let me find. Here it is, Jim Cathcart. And Roy plays along and says, yeah, him. And I said, thank you, Roy. Yay, and then I said, folks, here's what we've been doing, and here's what we're here to talk about. And I just jumped into it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, here's another author and friend,
Hey,
Doug
Doug.
Wing.
Yep.
Good morning, gentlemen. Great story. Are you going to sing for us? Jim, give us a little bit. Here we go. Jim Cathcart live.
The baby boomers are headed for retirement. So many people are letting go. They seem to think achievement time is over. I'm here to tell them it's time to grow, so resume the boom. The time to call the roll again, resume the boom. We'll rock and roll to the very end, resume the boom. We still have a dream, sweetheart. Restart, resume the boom.
Oh yeah, Jim. Thank you very much.
On the old song, Shaboom, Shaboom.
I like it.
Yep.
So this is an interesting point. I've pulled some out here that maybe some people don't think about. For instance, coaching your introducer and getting to know the AV people, the camera people before the show. Talk about that, because I think folks miss that opportunity when they show up at the venue.
You bet. Well, your introducer is probably not accustomed to speaking. So a lot of times they'll say, Jay, come here. We want you to read the introduction. So you're getting up. And Jay says, well, I don't look, all you got, it's right here. Just read what it says. Oh, okay. So Jay's going to get up there, and Jay's nervous. And the chances of him messing it up are pretty strong. Now, is it going to matter? No. But Jay doesn't know that, because Jay's just been pulled aside for the moment and asked to do it. So coach your introducer. And one of the things I do is I send in advance, obviously, the things that my meeting planners need when I'm the speaker. So I'll send them a written introduction, and it's short and it's enjoyable to listen to because it's got a little bit of humor in it, and everything's fine. But I know they're not going to remember to bring that to the meeting. So I've got another copy in my pocket inside my jacket. And when I get up to the meeting room, I go to the meeting planner or meeting manager, whoever the person is in charge. And I don't give it to them right away. I say, hey, by the way, I've got another copy of the intro if you need it. Oh, thank you. I've been looking. Thank God. I have been looking everywhere for that.
Yes.
And they go, whew. And I say, look, just hold it up and read it. There's no need to memorize anything. Just hold it up and read it. And just say, our speaker, provided this intro and it said to read it to you. Our speaker today is Jim Cathcart. He's done da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But there's another side of him that's more interesting. He's also been a nightclub singer, a bartender, a bill collector, an insurance agent, a mutual fund salesman, an internet business owner, and an association executive. He may not be able to hold a job, but I hear he can hold an audience. So let's welcome Jim Cathcart. And by the way, it says in there, he may not be able to hold a job, pause.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to chuckle when you say he may not be able to hold a job.
Yes.
But I hear he can hold an audience. Here's Jim Cathcart.
We've got some other, but Marty just jumped in and says that means no retirement. And
that's correct. No retirement. I have from 1974. I was looking at my notes from a goal setting session back in the 70s when I was in the JCs that we were talking about earlier offline. I did an exercise, and in the exercise in that seminar, they said, when do you expect to retire? And I wrote, now remember, this was August of 1974. Never. I'm 76 years and 9 months old right now, and I'm not any closer to retirement than I was when I started.
Good. Keep it up. I mean, you can only play so much pickleball.
That's right. And you can come to my retirement party. Don't be fooled if they call it a funeral. It is my retirement party.
Okay. Sounds like a winner. I'll be there. How about this one? This really got my attention. And as I was reading the book, you had multiple ways. Talk about this because you show up. It's like people show up to church and the first 5 rows are empty. Talk to people about how you handle that.
Yeah, I call that Baptist church syndrome because that typically had been the deal over the years. You go to a church and the first few rows were empty. People come to a meeting and they want to get what's there, assuming they don't feel sent. In other words, they came for their own reasons instead of because someone forced them to be there. But a lot of people are sent people. They feel like, all right, I got to be here, but I'm not going to participate. And I'm sure not going to engage. So I'm going to sit back here. And they start filling up from the back instead of from the front. Well, the eager learners are front row people. They want to get in there early. They want to put their materials down and claim a seat before it goes to somebody else. Well, if in the meeting, the front rows are empty, it's going to create more of a sense of separation between you and your audience. And to fill that separation, you got a couple of options. One, you can get down off the stage and walk closer to them. Or two, you can give them a playful reason, an enjoyable reason to move up. And here's what I did one time. I saw this coming. I just encountered it so often that I decided to create a little tool to have some fun. And I printed up a little coupon about, maybe the size of a bookmark, right? And on the coupon, I printed in bold, first class upgrade. And then I put a legend on there. It said, you have just been approved for a full first class upgrade for the balance of this meeting. Please gather your materials and move immediately to the front rows. And then on the back, it had conditions. And it said, if the speaker is super boring, you are welcome to move back to your original seat. If, whatever. It was just a playful tool to have some fun with the audience. And so at the next meeting where I could use it, I had a pocket full of those inside my jacket. And I got up on the stage and I said, good morning. I said, folks, I've got a surprise for you, a special benefit. And I walked up to the 3rd or 4th or 5th row, wherever it was. And I said, I have first class upgrades for all of you right here. And I started handing these to people and getting them to move forward. And I stood there, and sort of guided them to the front row, because otherwise they'd just take it and keep sitting. And then I'd walk back a couple of rows and get somebody else, and I'd pull them up by the hand, and I'd walk them up there. And so the people all laughed. And I said, by the way, would everyone please stand? Thank you. Gather your materials, and everyone please move forward 2 rows from where you are right now. And the entire audience got up. They were already standing, and they got up and gathered their materials. And when they could tell I genuinely expected them to do it, they did it. And so we had fun with that.
This is another one of these 54 mini lessons that you can get from this fantastic book. Everyone, I can't tell you how valuable it will be for you to be able to show up to your next speaking engagement and be prepared for some of the eventualities and things that happen when you're there that maybe you never thought about.
Yeah, it'll make you more confident for sure.
Yes.
You won't feel like, oh, what if?
Exactly.
And by the way, there's a problem with that. When people say, oh my, what if they cancel the flight? What if the weather's bad? What if the traffic, if we get stuck in traffic? What if wild wolves come running down the street when we go out to the car? They make up whatever fears they can fabricate. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're going to ask the question, at least answer it.
Yeah.
No, that's the problem. Most people don't answer it. They say, what if they don't like me? Well, if they don't like you, then they don't like you. So deal with it and get on with living. It doesn't mean you have to saw your leg off and die. Just deal with it. What if we're late? Then we'll call and let them know we're running behind, and we'll handle it somehow. For heaven's sakes, answer the question.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Jacobo Geller, I hope I pronounced your name right, says there's more energy here with these two than with many millennials.
Here's your energy.
What key in?
Talking about my baby. Oh, little Latin loop-a-loop in the key of B.
Okay.
She's a high-strutting baby. Ain't no dance she couldn't do. She's my groovy little baby. Little Latin loop-a-loop. If you want to do the twist, loop-a-loop and put it down. If you want to watch to say, she's the best for miles around. Give my life potato, baby. Little Latin loop-a-loop.
Yeah, all right. Oh, that's fantastic. That's good. Let's see. Marty jumped in. He says, love that. I'm 73 and the word retirement does not belong in my vocabulary either.
There you go.
We have too much fun jamming.
Well, let's just go until 10:45. That's my next meeting.
Oh my gosh, heck yes. Jim, this is great. There's another, we talked about the front rows and then people getting to know you. I put this link back up here. You can write it down. It's going to take them right to the Amazon channel where you can get it. They can walk into any of their major bookstores. They can Google the title and your name.
Everywhere they sell books, you can find it. Yeah. They may not have it in stock, but they can get it for you.
Oh, yeah. And it'll be great. And say, okay, good. Glad you like it, Marty. Glad you like it. It's like, this is too much fun, Jim. Next time I'm on the West Coast or you're in Indianapolis, you need it. Jim,
No, I'm in Austin, Texas now.
Pardon me?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, yeah. You're not in San Diego. You're down in Texas, of course.
Graduation, but I'm in the live music capital of the world.
Oh, my gosh, yes. That would be so good. So
maybe it's time we got back to the basics of love. Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas.
Oh, my gosh, yes. We got to do that. So here's something that you mentioned to me when we were prepping, and it really got my attention. And I think people need to hear about this. This is an opportunity for people explain that you're looking for a protege to carry on your legacy. How does that work?
I am. I've written 25 books, written and published 25 books. I've got about 3 more that are mostly written and they're in the pipeline. And I'm 76, like I mentioned a while ago. Well, that means there's not an awful lot of career runway still in front of me. And so I need to kind of get things together so that I've got an easier ride to 120 or whatever I'm going to live to be. I'm looking for people who I have a natural affinity with, where it's just easy and natural to work with them, collaborate with them, and they've got a lot of runway that they need to fill, and they need a leg up to get going. So they can take one of my earlier books like Relationship Selling or The Acorn Principle or some of my other works that have been out there long enough to be ready for a revision, and we work together to revise it, and then it becomes their book as well as mine, and they've got the ability to go whatever direction they want to from there. So the way I do that is I conduct a year-long mentorship that I call the Experts Academy, Going Pro Experts Academy. And at the end of that, people receive a medallion and a certificate as a certified professional expert. And a professional expert, meaning an expert in the skill sets that go across the different categories. To be an expert in accounting, you have to study accounting. But to be an expert in the field of accounting, you have to study leadership, communication, self-development, goal setting, all those various disciplines. That's what I teach. And so I guide people, whether they're going to be a professional speaker, an author, a consultant, a business owner of whatever type. I guide them through that process of turning pro in what they're doing and becoming a true leading authority on their subject.
Everyone, Jim is very available. He talks to people. You can email him right here. You can go to his website. He's serious about this opportunity. If you've got that little thing in your heart, as he talked about this, it's like, maybe I'm the guy or the gal. Send him an email, contact him.
Yeah.
Say, hey, who knows? Who knows? Maybe this is a match made in heaven for you to help launch your career as well, or move it on forward beyond where it is already.
Yeah. And even if you've got your own book in the general field of self-development or business success, and you want my advice on it, then we can do it that way. It doesn't have to be that you're rewriting one of mine. It's just that with one of mine, you've got it mostly done. You just need to revise it.
And look at this. So we got another
Ken
friend.
Walls, my man.
Hey, Jim. Doug must have sent him a text or something and let him know we were on. And he says, Jim is a good man and a good friend.
And Ken is the guy that did this digital business card for me. Isn't that an amazing thing?
That is great.
Coolest business card ever. Better.
And how can they see that at Cathcart.com? Is that where they see it?
They can see it at jimcathcart.com. Just one word, jimcathcart.com. But they can go to Ken Walls and get their own.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. And Ken Walls is likewise very available, good guy. And he says, thank you, my friend.
Texas, so that he could claim to be closer to me.
Oh, isn't that cool? And then look at this, John Allegretti. Oh my gosh, good to see you, John. It's been a long time. He's from Chicago, a great businessman, business owner, founder. And he's saying, great speaker, Jay. And it's like, John, I'm so glad you're jumping in here. Everybody, once the show kind of winds down, I just want you to know that there's a delay.
Don't say it isn't so, Jay.
Oh, I hate to say it, Okay, Ken's smiling. Cynthia says, hey, Ken. Okay, it's like old home week. Everybody's here together. Yeah. I love it. Let's see. Want to make sure that we cover this. Oh yeah, everybody. Here's an opportunity. Let's see. What was your name again?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Jim Cathcart was gracious enough to say, Jay, if you'd like to, you could give away as kind of a gift to the listeners an e-copy of my new book.
Yep.
And it's like, oh my gosh. And so it's a PDF of the book. It's well formatted, easy to go page by page. I literally even was able to go to a page. Here was one of the lessons, printed it out. It's like, oh my gosh, this is
Cool.
great. What do you do during your introduction? And I could read it. And then I read it
Yeah,
on my
by the
thing.
way, pause for a second on that. What do you do during an introduction? When people say, well, I sit there until it's my turn to speak. No, you uncross your legs so that you don't stumble when you get up. You take a deep breath from your abdomen instead of up here to relax your vocal cords and everything around it. And you listen to what that introducer is saying, and you look at the physical path between you and the stage or the front of the room to see if there are any obstacles there that might get in your way. That's what you do during the moments when someone else is introducing you.
Oh, being prepared again.
And being intentional about everything.
That is great. So everyone, if you want that e-book copy that I will email to you, and it's emailable, it's not too big to go through the email. It does beautifully. Right. Go to my YouTube channel. If you just go to YouTube and type at Jay Skinner, all like one word, and then subscribe. What I'm trying to do is build up to 1,000 subscribers or more so I can move forward in that whole monetization and continue to build my brand and my business. And Jim's getting involved in helping me do that. And I thank you very much, Jim. So go to YouTube at Jay Skinner, hit subscribe, and then send me an email or make a comment with your email so I can send you that ebook of What to Do When You're the Speaker by Jim Cathcart. There's one more time. Here's how you get a hold of Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, I always like to do this. We've kind of wound down here to the end, and I love you. I'm so thankful to you be my friend, and we've done this now a couple times, and I know we'll do it again more. Share. Oh, look, there's another comment. I don't want to miss what people are saying. Oh, thank you. Cynthia says subscribed. Thank you very much. John Godwin's on here. Oh my gosh, he's a great filmmaker. He says, great show, Jay. Definitely looking forward to picking up the book. I'll subscribe to your YouTube as well. Fantastic. Thank you very much, John. Well, everyone, Jim Cathcart, the great Jim Cathcart. I'm so thankful to have you here, Jim. So do you have any final words for our audience, please?
I have a free podcast every first Wednesday of the month at 2:00 Central Time, which is noon on the Pacific Coast, and 3 o'clock on the East Coast. 2:00 Central Time every first Wednesday. Wisdom Parlor podcast. Just go to Apple or podcast, whatever, any of those usual places you look for podcast, and look up Wisdom Parlor. And join me there. It's conducted like a living room, where we're sitting around talking about a subject. So unlike an interview program like this one, it's more of a round the room dialogue. And I think you'll enjoy that. My main purpose in life is to help people grow. In the Bible, there's a passage, John 10:10 says, I have come that they would have life and have it more abundantly. Well, in a non-religious sense, that's what I feel my life purpose is, that I am here to help other people live more abundantly by bringing them the ideas, the inspiration, the stories, the support and encouragement they need as their mentor, as their guide, or just a subject expert they like to follow. So I hope you have an abundant life and that I get to be a part of it.
You are a part of my abundant life, Jim. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to thank everyone for coming. We got a couple more comments here. Ken's given Jim is a legend. Yes, he is. I gotta say, there's people out there who say, well, I know this guy, I know that guy, I know this guy. Well, when Jim says it, he means he had him over for dinner. We were in it.
Exactly. Yeah. When I say I know that guy
together on this thing, I mean, he really knows him.
He's on my favorite
stage of the show.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. I mean, someone was saying to me the other day, well, you should read a book by Dr. Dennis Waitley. I said, I have sat around a fire pit and sung oldies with Dennis Waitley. Dennis Waitley and I did a 9-city tour back in 1979 for a guy named Stan McMackins. And it was a day for the winners, and he did the afternoon and I did the morning. I mean, so when people are throwing out these names, Tony Robbins, well, I did the fire walk with Tony Robbins. I've had a private lunch with Tony Robbins. I don't know him well, but I know him, and they throw out other names. Yep. Been there, done that. Why? Not because I'm cool, because I've been around so darn long.
You're cool too. You are cool.
I was in the room where it happened.
So Marty just subscribed. Thank you very much, Marty.
You.
Everybody do it. Help me get to 1,000. I don't want to I want it to be good, organic, interested people like you that will subscribe to my YouTube channel. And whenever you go to YouTube, if it's Jim's or Ken's or anybody's, just hit that subscribe button. It helps all of us. And then Jim, guess who's coming to dinner?
Come, bring it on.
Ken Walls will be there for dinner tonight. All right. Okay, so thank you very much, Jim. If you go back to the green room, don't eat all the fruit and good stuff. And if you got a chance to hang out, I'll come back and visit with you after the show. But thank you again for being here.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye now. And everybody, you've just enjoyed the Buyers and Sellers Show. Not only are we all public speakers, we're all buyers and sellers, and you now got to know Mr. Jim Cathcart. See you next week, same time, same channel. See you next week. Thanks for coming.